A wheel made of fire spins in the void. It has no axle, no frame, no reason, and it is covered every inch of it in hundreds of unblinking human eyes. Above it, something with 4 faces stares in every direction at once. The face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. It doesn't turn its head. It doesn't need to. It sees everything. Always. Forever. And somewhere behind it all, 6 wings unfold. 2 cover its face, because even it cannot look at what sits on the throne. 2 cover its feet, and 2 stretch wide, beating the air with a sound like a roaring ocean. This is not a demon. This is not a monster. This is an angel, exactly as the Bible describes it. And the first thing it says to you? Be not afraid. For centuries, Western art gave us angels in white robes, golden curls, feathered wings. Renaissance painters made them beautiful. Greeting cards made them gentle. Hollywood made them human. But the angels of the actual Bible? They are something else entirely. Some look like ordinary men until the sky cracks open behind them. Some are burning serpents that scream holiness on an infinite loop. Some are spinning rings of interlocking wheels, each one covered in eyes, floating beside creatures with 4 animal faces, fused into one skull. And the deeper you go into the scripture, the stranger they get. In this video, we are going to walk through 12 of the most nightmarish angels described in the Bible, from the familiar to the absolutely incomprehensible. We'll start with what you think you know, and then we'll descend into what you were never shown in Sunday school. By the end, you'll understand why the phrase, "be not afraid," wasn't a comfort. It was a warning. And the last angel on this list? It doesn't say be not afraid at all. It says something far worse. 1. The Malakim, the messengers. Let's start where it almost feels safe. The Hebrew word malak simply means messenger. The Malakim are the closest thing the Bible has to the angels you grew up with. They appear as ordinary men. No wings, no halos, no glow. In Genesis 18, 3 figures approach Abraham near the oaks of Mamre, and he doesn't flinch. He offers them food. He washes their feet, because they look completely human. In Genesis 19, 2 angels walk into Sodom, and the townspeople don't perceive anything divine about them, just strangers. That's what makes the Malakim quietly unsettling. You wouldn't know you were talking to one. They sit at your table. They eat your bread. They look you in the eye. And then they level a city with fire from the sky. The most terrifying disguise isn't a monstrous form. It's a familiar one, to the angel of the Lord. Now here's where the Bible gets strange, and scholars have argued about this for 2,000 years. The angel of the Lord appears throughout the Old Testament, and every time it does, something unnerving happens. In Exodus 3, it manifests inside a burning bush that is on fire but is not consumed. It speaks not as an angel, but as God himself. I am who I am. In Numbers 22, it blocks a road with a drawn sword invisible to the prophet Balaam, but visible to his donkey. The animal refuses to move. Balaam beats it. And then the donkey opens its mouth and speaks. In Judges 13, it appears to Manoah and his wife. And when Manoah asks its name, it replies, "Why do you ask my name? It is beyond understanding." Then it ascends into the sky inside a flame. The angel of the Lord is not classified as a seraph, a cherub, or a throne. It exists outside the hierarchy entirely. Some theologians believe it is a pre-incarnate manifestation of God himself, a theophany wearing the title angel, the way a king might wear the cloak of a common soldier. It is not merely a messenger. It is the message. 3. The cherubim, as you think you know them. Now, before we descend further, let's address the most misunderstood angel in history. Say the word cherub, and most people picture a chubby baby with tiny wings, those little Renaissance putti floating around Italian ceilings. Adorable, harmless, decorative. That image is a lie. The first mention of cherubim in the Bible is Genesis 3:24. After Adam and Eve are expelled from the Garden of Eden, God stations cherubim at the eastern gate, along with a flaming sword that turns in every direction. These are not babies, they are guards. They are stationed at the border between humanity and paradise, armed with a weapon made of fire that moves on its own. That's the introduction. That's the first impression. And it only gets worse. Because the real cherubim, the ones described by the prophet Ezekiel, they are next. 4. The true cherubim, Ezekiel's vision. Ezekiel chapter 1. A storm rolls in from the north. Inside the storm, there is fire. And inside the fire, there are 4 living creatures. Each one has the likeness of a man, but only barely. Each one has 4 faces. The face of a human in front, the face of a lion on the right, the face of an ox on the left, and the face of an eagle behind. 4 faces, fused into one head, looking in every direction simultaneously. Their legs are straight. Their feet are like the hooves of a calf, gleaming like polished bronze. They have 4 wings, each 2 stretched out, touching the wings of the creature beside them, 2 folded down, covering their bodies. And here's the part that gets under your skin. They don't turn. They don't rotate. When they move as a single unit, gliding in straight lines, propelled not by wing beats, but by spirit. Ezekiel says they moved like a flash of lightning. In Ezekiel chapter 10, the prophet confirms it. These are the cherubim, the same class of being that guards the gates of Eden, the same beings whose images were carved into the Ark of the Covenant. They were never babies. They are living, 4-faced thrones of God, gliding through the air like no creature biology could ever explain. 5. The Seraphim, the burning ones. Isaiah chapter 6. The prophet is caught up in a vision of heaven. God is seated on a throne, high and exalted, and the train of his robe fills the entire temple. And above him, above the throne, stand the Seraphim. The word Seraphim means burning ones, and their name is the gentlest part of them. Each seraph has 6 wings. With 2, it covers its face because even angels cannot look directly at God. With 2, it covers its feet, a gesture of humility or perhaps concealment. And with 2, it flies. They cry out to one another back and forth without ceasing a single phrase that shakes the foundations of the temple. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The doorposts tremble. Smoke fills the room. Isaiah collapses. He doesn't say, "How beautiful." He says, "Woe is me. I am ruined." He believes he is about to die. And there's a detail buried in Revelation 4-8 that makes the seraphim even more disturbing. John's vision describes 4 living creatures similar to seraphim that are full of eyes within, not just on the outside. Eyes on the inside of their wings. Eyes that line the interior of their bodies. They see everything, inside and out, above and below. And they never stop singing. Not for a moment. Not for eternity. 6. The Ophanim, the wheels. Now we arrive at the most alien thing in the entire Bible. Beside each cherub, Ezekiel sees a wheel, but it is not a wheel as you understand it. It is a wheel inside a wheel, one ring intersecting another at a perfect right angle, like a gyroscope made of beryl and light. And the rims of those wheels? Covered, every inch, in eyes. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful. That's the King James translation. The word used in Hebrew carries the weight of awe-inspiring terror. These rings are so tall, so vast, so incomprehensible that the prophet can only describe them as dreadful. The Ophanim do not speak. They do not sing. They simply spin, moving in perfect harmony with the cherubim, because, as Ezekiel says, the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. They are not vehicles. They are not machines. They are alive. They are aware. They are watching. Medieval Jewish texts, like the Book of Enoch, classify the Ophanim as one of the highest orders of angels, seated in the innermost ring of heaven. Imagine that. An angel that is not a person, not a figure, not a being with arms or a voice. Just a spinning wheel of interlocking rings, covered in eyes, that never blinks. 7. The Cheot HaKodesh, the holy living creatures. Now, there's something most people miss when they read Ezekiel and Revelation side by side. The 4 living creatures described by Ezekiel, the cherubim with 4 faces, appear again in Revelation chapter 4. But this time, they are different. This time, each creature has only one face. The first is like a lion. The second, like an ox. The third has a face like a man. The fourth is like a flying eagle. And their bodies are full of eyes in front and behind, above and below. In Jewish mystical tradition, these are called the Hayot HaKodesh, the holy living creatures. They are not identical to the cherubim. They are something older, something higher. They carry the very throne of God, and the sound of their wings is described as the sound of the Almighty. The voice of God himself echoed through their motion. They are the engine of the divine. They don't just serve God. They are the mechanism by which God moves through creation. 8. The Chashmalim, the electrum beings. This is an angel most people have never heard of, and there's a reason for that. In Ezekiel 1-4, the prophet describes the center of the great storm vision as a substance called chashmal in Hebrew. It's been translated as amber, gleaming metal, or electrum. In fact, the modern Hebrew word for electricity, chashmal, comes directly from this passage. The Talmud warns against meditating too deeply on the nature of chashmal. In Chagiga 13a, there is a story of a child who studied this section of Ezekiel and was consumed by fire that shot out from the chashmal itself. In later Kabbalistic tradition, the chashmalim became an order of angels, beings of living, radiant, electric fire that surround the throne of God. They are described as entities that speak and are silent simultaneously, pulsing between expression and concealment. They are not just bright. They are a frequency, a vibration, a divine current too dangerous for mortal minds to hold. The rabbi said, "Do not look at them, do not name them, do not try to understand." Some things burn not because they are evil, but because they are too holy. 9. The Watchers, the Grigori. Daniel chapter 4, verse 13. The Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. In it, he sees a great tree that reaches the heavens, and then descending from the sky, a watcher, a holy one. The watcher speaks with authority. It decrees that the tree shall be cut down, that the king shall be driven mad, living among beasts for 7 years. This is the only class of angel in the Bible identified by the act of watching, not praising, not delivering messages, watching. In the book of Enoch, a text considered scripture by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and quoted in the New Testament book of Jude, the watchers are named Grigori. 200 of them descended to Mount Hermon and swore a pact. They would take human wives. They would teach humanity forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, weapons, sorcery, cosmetics, astrology. Their children were the Nephilim giants of enormous size and appetite, who consumed everything and eventually turned on humanity itself. For their transgression, the Watchers were bound in chains of darkness beneath the earth, imprisoned in a place called Dudael, to await judgment at the end of time. They are angels who fell not from pride, but from desire. And the result was a corruption so deep that God looked upon the earth and regretted making it. 10. The Destroying Angel, the Angel of Death. Midnight. Egypt. The 10th plague. Exodus 12:23 says, "The Lord will pass through the land to strike down every firstborn, and with him is the destroyer." The Hebrew word is hamashkit. It is not given a face, not given a name, not given wings or a body. It is simply a force, a divine function, wearing the shape of absence. The blood on the doorframes is not decoration. It is a boundary line, the only thing standing between a family and total annihilation. The destroyer does not argue, does not weigh merit, does not pause. It passes through walls, through time, through silence. In 2 Samuel 24, the destroying angel appears again, this time visible. King David sees it standing between earth and heaven, sword drawn over Jerusalem, and 70,000 people are dead. David doesn't flee, he falls on his face. Because you can't outrun something that doesn't walk. 11. The angel of Daniel's vision, the being of lightning. Daniel chapter 10. Daniel has been fasting for 3 weeks. No meat, no wine, no oil on his skin. He is standing by the banks of the Tigris River. And then he lifts his eyes. A man, clothed in linen, a belt of pure gold around his waist. His body like beryl, a gemstone that shifts between green and gold. His face like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches. His arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze. And his voice like the roar of a multitude. Daniel's companions don't see the angel, but they feel it. A great terror falls on them, and they flee, hiding in the darkness. Daniel alone remains, and when the angel speaks, Daniel collapses face first to the ground, trembling, unable to breathe. The angel touches him, lifts him to his hands and knees, and says, "Do not be afraid, Daniel." But here's the revelation most people miss. This angel, this being made of jewels and fire and the sound of an army, tells Daniel it has been fighting a war. For 21 days, it was locked in combat with the prince of the kingdom of Persia, a dark spiritual entity, and only broke free when Michael, the archangel, came to help. This angel is a soldier. Its body is a weapon. Its face is a storm. And even it needed reinforcements. Think about what's strong enough to hold back something that looks like that. 12, Abaddon, Apollyon, the angel of the abyss. Revelation chapter 9. The 5th trumpet sounds. A star falls from heaven to earth, and it is given a key, the key to the bottomless pit. The pit opens. Smoke pours out like the smoke of a great furnace, darkening the sun and the air. And from the smoke, they come. Locusts, but not locusts. They have the shape of horses prepared for war. They wear crowns of gold. They have faces like humans, hair like women's hair, teeth like the teeth of lions. They have breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings is like the thunder of chariots charging into battle. They are given power to torment, not kill, the people of the earth for 5 months. And the pain they inflict is so severe that men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, and death will flee from them. And above this army ruling, it is a king. Revelation 9:11. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek, Apollyon. Both names mean the same thing, the destroyer. This is not a demon. The text calls it an angel whose dominion is the bottomless pit, whose army is made of nightmare locusts with human faces and lion teeth, whose purpose is not salvation. It is devastation. Remember the destroying angel from Exodus? The one that moved through Egypt like silence? Abaddon is what happens when that silence finds a voice. And a throne. And an army. So here's the question that sits at the bottom of all this. Why? Why would the messengers of a loving God be so terrifying? Maybe the answer is simpler than we want it to be. These beings were never designed for us. The Seraphim don't sing for our comfort. The Ophanim don't spin for our understanding. The Cherubim don't guard paradise because we're welcome there. The angels of the Bible exist in a space between the divine and the mortal, and that space was never meant to be gentle. It was meant to be overwhelming, because the closer you get to something infinite, the more your finite mind cracks under the weight of it. The phrase, "be not afraid," isn't reassurance. It's an acknowledgement. It's an angel looking at a human being and recognizing this form I wear, this fire, these eyes, these wheels, these wings. They are more than you were built to bear. Be not afraid, not because there's nothing to fear, but because the fear is the point. The awe is the design. The trembling is the correct response. And maybe, just maybe, the real nightmare isn't the angels themselves. It's the thing they're all looking at. The thing even the Seraphim cover their faces to avoid seeing. The thing that sits on the throne. If this shook something loose in your mind, if you want to go deeper into the beings the ancient world feared and worshipped, there's a video right here that takes us into the darkest mythological creatures outside the Bible, the ones from civilizations even older. It's waiting for you. If you're brave enough,